Hi, everyone. I'm Gold Derby News and Features Editor Ray Richmond, and I'm here today with Lionel Boyce, who plays the endearing pastry chef Marcus on the multiple Emmy Award-winning hit FX series The Bear. Lionel, I want to talk about The Bear as a phenomenon before zeroing in on your singular episode in season two. Um, what's it like to be part of the ensemble of a show that's so exploded to kind of become part of the TV zeitgeist? A little overwhelming?
Um, I think it's a little overwhelming, but mostly not because all it's like all of those things exist away from you kind of in a way where it's like peripheral, where I don't know. I think it's cool. It's really cool. I think the coolest thing to me about it is that I get along with everyone and like you genuinely like love everyone that we work with. So it just feels like a family win. And it's like to have people to share with, like that, to be in a boat all together where it's not like an individual person's love from like a show, but no one really cares for the show. It's just everyone loves everything about it. So we get to celebrate it and it feels like a genuine like family win.
And everybody's pretty close among the cast and among the crew, and it's a comfortable vibe.
Yeah, yeah, super tight knit.
Uh, how have your life and career changed since the show premiered? Are scripts and offers kind of flying into your agent now?
Well, if it's flying in, I wouldn't say that. But no, it's definitely changed, and I can get like more meetings now with people that like you like before this everyone you love so many, like if you anything you do, like if you make anything or big fans of like your craft or whatever, it's like you look up to all these people who work within this industry. It's like so many directors, all these people that you love, and you like I would love to like meet this person, and now they know who you are, and you're just like on their radar a bit. So now you can like have more meetings with these people that you've admired forever. So it's changed in that way where I can have a few more meetings than I could before. And you get recognized here and there walking down the street.
But that's just got to be such an advantage, for an actor to suddenly have, facial recognition, and your reputation precedes you a little bit now when you walk in the room, as opposed to just being in another anonymous face.
What's the last thing you said? Because it kind of froze for a moment.
Oh, I was just going to say it. It's like you've got now you've got facial recognition, name recognition, whereas instead of just being another anonymous face walking into audition with producers, that's got to be a huge advantage.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is cool because it's they like you in something. So there's like at least they're like, well, I know at the very base you're capable in some capacity, and it's just yeah, it gets you into the room. It's like familiars. It's I think yeah, it's they're kind of wanting to be more open to whatever, like you know what I mean? They're open to you as opposed to yeah, a big one walls down.
For sure. All right, Lionel, let's talk about the fourth episode of the second season, Honeydew, which found Marcus journeying to Copenhagen for some intense high-end precision pastry training. And you actually went to Denmark to shoot it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we went out there for about a week or a week and a half or so and like we shot the interior stuff with Will Poulter in Chicago because like scheduling, and then we shot everything else out in Copenhagen.
When you first received the script, Lionel, you must have thought everything was going to be shot in Chicago, right? You probably couldn't have imagined you're actually going to Copenhagen.
Yeah, no, when I got the script, I was just reading it and then I was like, oh, okay. And you just see more Marcus as it keeps going, like, oh, okay, well, this is just all Marcus. In the end, you're like, oh, it's a bottle episode. Sick. And then yeah, you start thinking about that, and I'm like, well, I wonder where they're gonna shoot it, how they're gonna like make Chicago look like Copenhagen. And then Josh Senior, I talked to him on the phone and he's like, because when before they as soon as they sent the scripts, he was like, let me know what you think. He just kept saying it like very cheeky. And then after I read like he's like, did you get to episode 4 yet? And I was like, yeah. And then he called me and he's like, yeah, how sick is that? I was like, sick. And then he's like, yeah, we're gonna go out there. And I was like, wow, incredible. I love that city. So
Did you have any clue in advance before you got the script that there was going to be one like all Marcus episode in the season?
no, I had no clue until I didn't know. anything like they don't really tell us much before we get the scripts because I think they just like we'll give you the scripts and then after you read it we can talk rather than just like I'm working on this because I think I like that too. I like them just it's like you have something concrete, you have something to talk about rather than being like it's all in the mind. It's like working through. It's like this is just solid. Tell me what you think, and we can lab go from there.
So you'll find out like on a need to know basis.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's such a distinctive episode, Lionel. It's so different from from the chaos and intensity of the rest of the bear. It's actually kind of quiet, contemplative, but honestly, no less fascinating. I mean, the whole vibe of the episode must have felt different for you to shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it felt different because number one, I think we had Ramy directing that episode, which was already a break from the norm. And then Adam Newport was the DP. He shot the pilot and Drew Wade shot everything else for the show. And so this particular one, so it was a different crew, it was a different director and DP. So off the bat, it was different. And then we had Will, like it wasn't really with any of the actors. So it just immediately felt separated. And then also I think it's like reflective of like what Marcus in season one, I always say like the pastry area is like is the break from the tension of the kitchen. It felt like it's its own space. So it was just this like this meditative space amplified where it just felt like a break. It just felt like being in a pastry shop, a bakery, not
Did
necessarily a pastry shop.
well, working with Will Poulter, I guess who's your pastry mentor, for lack of a better term, uh, that had to be a lot of fun too. I mean, you guys really seem to click and have great chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I didn't know him. I was obviously a fan of his before the show, and I didn't know him, but it's like one of those things where I feel like that happens. Having with this show, it's like they're just so good at casting, or it's like, how do you know that these people will get along and click? And it was the same thing with him where I met him and then we kind of hung out like a day or two before we started shooting. I was walking around Chicago and stuff, and you just like instantly felt like familiar and you're just like, oh, okay. Like like yeah, I could hang out. You're like a homie. It's just had this unspoken camaraderie that like came right off the bat. And I think it was reflected in like that you can't like fake. And yeah, that came through when we got to like working on the scenes and like working together. But
So
yeah, I
you
love working
actually,
with him.
oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. You actually had time to bond like for a few days before you started shooting.
Yeah, I think it was like the me, him, and Ramy hung out. It was like a day or two. I can't remember now, but it was like maybe like yeah, 1 or 2 days before we started shooting because I think it was like the weekend. We were shooting like on a Monday or Tuesday or something like that, and he got in town the weekend before, so we kind of hung out and yeah.
How did Ramy Youssef come to direct an episode? Did he like come to you guys? Did you go to him? Do you know how that all came to be? I mean, did he express an interest in being part of the show?
I think that came from Chris and Ramy have a close relationship because Chris helped Ramy create his show Ramy and like directed a lot of that. And like they worked together. They had been working together already on that, so it was already a relationship there. And so I think Chris knew that he wanted this one is going to feel different, get a different director to come in just so it can really feel like it's its own thing. And I think they had some names in mind, and I think Ramy was one of the names. And then I think I'm assuming it just went from there, reaching out to this part. I actually never asked. I just assumed that's how it went down. Where it's just like Chris texts Ramy, and Ramy's like, yeah.
Did did uh, did he have some interesting ideas or want to experiment or anything? I mean, as part of the show, was it a way different vibe than other directors with him?
Yeah, I think I think every director cares about different things. Like I think you care about everything, but there's different things that's highlighted for you that's like that's maybe more at the forefront than another thing. And I think for him was like I say always times like the tension and as well as like I think he was very big on like this is Copenhagen, like caring about like what is this place, making sure that it felt like it was a character in itself. Just like, because I think he went out there and spent a little bit more time there, like for like maybe a couple weeks, just exploring, just getting a feel for the city before we started shooting. So I think those things made it like it informed when we were out there, like he had like spots that he wanted, like, oh, maybe Marcus goes here on his day off. Like we should shoot here at this park or go to like this chicken sandwich shop that I've befriended like the people who work there or whatever. So it was kind of cool to see that.
Did you personally, Lionel, get to tour around and see the city much?
Yeah, yeah, we were shooting nights for a couple of days, so I'm an early riser, so I was getting up early, walking around. There was an amusement park out there that I went to a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an amusement park in the middle of the city, and I went there like where I was like, what time do they open? Maybe I can like go ride a ride before we have to go to work like a child.
How cool, though. Oh my God,
Yeah,
I'd want to do the same thing. If I see an amusement, it's impossible for me to stay away if I see an amusement.
yeah, I love amusement parks, so
How cool. Well, Lionel, we really get such a great opportunity to watch Marcus kind of grow as a character in that episode. It really fleshed out his backstory so much more. You probably, I'm sure, just as an actor, had to be grateful for that.
yeah, yeah, definitely, because I don't think we weren't Chris didn't really talk much about Marcus's mom in season one. And then I think he did it's like a Chris and Joanna and all the writers did a great job of like you get a feel for who all these people are. It was very much season one, you're just dropped into a ship, and then you just understand everyone, what they're like, what's the external things that's happening to them as they walk into like this little ship. Um and so yeah, it was really cool just to get a full feel for like this person and just seeing what this outlet of creativity, what it's really doing for him, and getting to see him like expand on the creativity.
Was it ever scary at all, knowing you're going to be carrying the episode essentially by yourself without Jeremy and Ebon and
100%.
Io?
1,000,000%. Because I'm like, yeah, I come in for a scene or two, say a couple words and walk away. And so I'm like, it's just me for 75% of this. It's like really like sitting on you. And it was cool because I also got to learn a lot because I haven't carried an episode before that. So it's just like you get to see there's like so many thoughts that's informing, that's going into like Jeremy and I on Evan's minds is like, like it's just experience. It's like this is what they're like thinking about that because everything's like pushing everything forward. Like, just on the technical side of breaking things down. So it was really cool to like get a little bit more understanding of that on that side. And then also felt it's like climbing a giant mountain, like the relief you feel after like doing it, where you're like, well, I feel proud that like, and when it comes out, you're like, okay, people like it. I feel proud that I didn't like make this a train wreck, essentially.
Oh, well, yeah, they obviously trusted you. I mean, to be able
Yeah,
to, if they wrote a whole Marcus episode, they obviously trusted you in advance and knew you weren't going to be trained.
yeah, I think that too. What that's like, it's like wow, like I think like most people, you're like finding like little ways to like discredit yourself or like deflate the balloon a little bit. So I'm like, oh wow, like I wonder what went into like their mind to make me put a whole episode around this person. Because before you're like, yeah, yeah, let's like come in, come out, you get comfortable with that, and it's just like, wow, they are taking a risk on me. All right, they're seeing
It
something
probably
that
it probably
I'm
gives
not.
you some job security too, knowing, well, obviously they're investing in Marcus here,
Yeah,
because he's obviously going to have a future once we switch to the bear to the fancy the high end restaurant. Because
yeah.
look, they're investing in you. They're investing in the character, but they're investing in the actor too.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's totally true. It is like it's cool because it is they have dreams and ambitions of where they want to take the story, and they're just like, yeah, like I'm gonna take it here, and I know that every actor can go where I want them to go to make sure this story is executed where we see it being executed.
Do you ever try to actually make any of the creations you make on the bear in real life? How are your baking chops?
They're okay. I did a lot of training with Coco Courtney Stewart, who's our culinary producer. We go to her for season two. I went to her house like a couple times a week before we went into production, and we would just like bake things and just like have fun and just mess around in the kitchen, make different like made a focaccia from scratch, and make like Parker House rolls, just like whatever we decided to make. And so I just got to like watch, learn from her, and like learn how to make some things. There's a couple things I can make. I don't really do it on my own because I'm lazy, but I could, and that's the important part.
It's pretty, no, it's pretty cool to know you have the capability of doing it. Everything I've heard, making actual pastry is incredibly complex. It looks so easy. You just you put a few things down and you put it in the oven for a little while. From what I gather, it's really complex doing a lot of it. Like even just making a croissant, from everything I hear, is like incredibly tough.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a higher bar of entry, but I think once you get in it, it's like you have an, it's like with anything, you have the understanding, and you're like, it's complicated, but I know how it works, so it's not as intimidating. It's just complicated without the intimidation changes everything.
If this active thing ever goes south, do you feel like you could actually get a job in a restaurant?
Well, I don't know. I think I think they may say you were that guy from that show. You're not a real chef. Get out of here.
I think you underestimate yourself. No, but seriously, Lionel, do you ever just as a can you be a fan of the show that you're on? Do you ever just sit back and watch The Bear and get kind of blown away yourself by the quality of this thing?
Yeah, I think I love the show. I'm a fan of the show. Like when I get the scripts, I'm excited to read them because I'm like, I love this show. Where are they going with the stories? I'm reacting like everybody else. And I think it's cool because I just separate. It's like I don't think about myself in it. And I just like focus on everything else and I just enjoy it all. Like I remember getting the scripts and reading Forks, Richie Evans episode. And I was like, this
Mhm.
is my favorite episode of the season. And when everyone like had that same feeling when it came out, I was happy because I was like, yeah, like that I love that episode. I love it. And it's just like it's a cool show. It's cool to make something that you genuinely are a fan of, to be a part of it. It's like if I weren't on the show, I would be watching it, wishing I was on that. And to be in that, to actually be in that is strange and cool.
Isn't that great? Wow. Yeah,
Mhm.
Forks was a great episode too, and Fishes.
Yeah.
Were you as oh my God watching that thing as everyone else?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I wasn't working, but I went by set one of the days they were filming that just because like I want to just see how are they going to do this? This is cool. Like, and then once I knew everyone who was like they casted and everything, I was like, wow, yeah, this is
With all
sick.
those guest stars and everything.
Hmm.
Um, what can you tell me about where Marcus goes in season three? And even in general, is there even anything general you can say, something that won't get you in trouble?
No, I don't know what to say because I forgot to ask them what can I say. And I keep saying I'm terrified of saying something and every headline being like, Lionel said this about season three, and then I just look like a fool, and everyone's looking at me upset, shaking their head. And so I'm like, I don't know. I don't really, but also I'm like, I don't know. I would just say, well, isn't it just fun just to drop in and watch it without knowing anything? I love like diving in and just like watching it without having the spoilers and everything.
No, it actually is. Even though it's just us here, no one's. No, actually, you know what?
Yeah, it's just
You,
us and the rest of the world.
well, I think actually we're going to leave things there. Both seasons of The Bear can be seen in their entirety streaming on Hulu. Lionel Boyce, best of luck to you this Emmy season and every season.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for joining us at Gold Derby.
Yeah, of course.